Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 2 of our 4th Age Total War Dorwinion campaign. If you've been following, in a previous episode we did a little sneak attack on Dale. So we've got up there with our full stack army, we've put it under siege, and now it's the AI's turn, and Dale is opening their move with a demand that we accept overlordship. I'm just going to ignore that and see what they're going to do next. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to counterattack me because I think all of their troops are concentrated against their enemy over here in the east, North Rune. So let's take a look at the diplomacy to bring you up to speed. If it's been a little while, we are allied with a lot of people in the neighborhood. We're allied with North Rune, which is good news. Hopefully we can maintain that for quite a while. I don't really want a lot of this territory. I mean, I'd grab, these two, I suppose. But it's not sort of a primary concern. The other alliance we have is with the Chiefdom of Rune over in the east. Hopefully that'll keep them, off our back for a while. We're also allied with Dorwinion for the moment. We do want and I think need to get their territory to win. And we're allied with the Bjornings, who are also allied or initially allied with Dale. Now, the nice thing about this is that because we allied with the Bjornings and we attacked Dale, the AI is going to side with us. Typically, the AI will side with the attacking faction if two of its allies go to war. So, try to keep that in mind. Yeah, so that worked in this case. Dale does not have any other allies. They do have the dwarves, because in this mod, Dale and the dwarves are sort of a special alliance, very similar. It's exactly the same, in fact, as the alliance between Rohan and the Reunited Kingdom. Lore-wise, they're supposed to be, pretty tight. So they're going to remain kind of allied, even if they end up going to war. It's a bit hard to explain, kind of like the Civil War mechanic in the original Rome. But at any rate, we did not get counterattacked, which I am rather surprised by, and that means that we will be able to just assault the city of Dale. There's no other fantastic news here. I was sort of expecting that the dwarves were going to join Dale in the war, because that's what they do. Again, you got to think of it like in Rome Total War, the Julii, the Brutii, the Scipii. If you attack one of them, you're going to be at war with all of them pretty much. They'll just follow each other in there. Well, let's get this done. We've got all the rams we need, but I'm noticing we do have some mercenaries. But I don't know if it's necessary to take them just yet. I guess we may as well, because I think we can retrain them here. And inside the city, let's take a look. They've got their king, I believe, who is commanding this heavy cav unit. They've got a unit of Hearthmen of Dale, and they've got a unit of Black Spears. Both of these guys are going to be annoying to deal with, but I think we can handle it, hopefully pretty well. And then they've got a unit of Barding Militia right outside, so that's great. So let's get into this, because if we can take Dale, you notice that there's a settlement just to the south. That is Esgaroth, essentially, the sort of remade lake town, and that's sort of behind the river. It's on the west side of the river running, which means that it's relatively easy to defend that, and Dale is right there. So we can take Dale and then turn around and take Esgaroth and get some nice trade going, even though we are otherwise surrounded by enemies. And that'll also allow us, I think, to trade with the elves, which is nice. They're going to be a nice passive trading partner for us. Then the only thing we have to worry about is, are the dwarves going to cause trouble? Typically they don't, because the dwarves, like the elves and the Shire, are set to be a passive faction if they are not controlled by the player. So this is Dale, and it's got some nice stone walls. It's a big settlement. And so we're going to have to look for the best line of attack. I don't know that there really is a good one in this layout. You want to find a place with, not a lot of towers. This might be okay. Like, we could come in here and only get hit by this one tower. This could be, similar, I think. But there's not a lot of, obvious places to go. The nice thing, I guess, is that the streets here are very broad, and so it's not like too much of a crowded maze like you can get with some other settlements. Actually, this is the perfect place. This right here. The only downside is that our sort of initial deployment zone is not there, but that's all right. We can take our time and just move our stuff where we want it to go. Now the AI, I think, does see where you are, and it will deploy its troops accordingly. So if we set up everybody over here, I think they may just move everybody over here. But there's not that many people, right? There's only 3 units inside the city, and one of them can't go on the wall. So who do I really want up here? I think I want the men-at-arms to be doing the fighting on the walls. It's going to be a hard fight. We're going to need both of these, and probably the ladder too, to be kind of in the same area. So that is how many spaces we can fit. 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So we could have everybody right along this wall, and it could be pretty safe. So I think that's what I'll do. The ram we may as well just drop. There's the men-at-arms. That's halberdiers. I don't want the halberdiers going up. The Dorwinion watch, not really. I think I'm going to put some axemen. Let's do this. We will put watch on the tower, and we'll have axemen on the ladders. And we'll leave watch on the ram, and, you know, maybe we'll bring it over there too. Actually, do we have any, like, kind of trashy units? I guess not. Okay, so here's all of our archers. We can get them all in a nice group so they're all close together. I don't think we're going to need to worry about skirmishing away from things, so we'll just move them there. We've got 1 cab. What else do we have? Halberds are here. You're there, you're there, you're there. Okay. Where's the ram? Why am I not seeing the ram? They're on it. Oh, I guess they weren't. Okay. Very weird. Alright, so that's everybody then? What are you? Okay, just some other cav. Alright, we've got a lot of cav, actually. Okay, so the plan here is just kind of move around the side. And the more men that they're bringing is just that unit of Barding Militia. That is a low-tier unit, so not worried about that at all. Here's the Hearth troops. When you're fighting on a city, the one thing I always loved about Rome Total War is that it allowed you to get really close in to see the units because of just the way the camera works. It's not a super smooth camera control, so you can't go exactly to the level of zoom that you would prefer sometimes, but the way it works on the cities is you get a nice little zoom in. Okay, so there's the Dragon Slayers unit, and there is the Spear unit. And so I'm overthinking this because they're only defending this part of the wall with a single guy. So yeah, this is going to not be a problem. If you're wondering why I'm not just going straight up to the wall there, it is because we're going to take some fire from the towers. So I don't want to do that. May as well start moving people, though. And, yeah, you guys as well. What may happen is this unit moves over here at some point to try to defend the walls. So I think what I might want to do is use the, these guys, the Rovanian Axemen. They're going to be the fastest ones, so I'll put them right here. And in fact, I probably don't need to use any of the towers or really anything else. I just need to get people up on the walls quickly and capture towers quickly, and then get other guys there so that we can defend. I guess the one thing that may also be a good idea is to get like an archer up here or skirmishers up here, because I would like to take these guys out through ranged. You don't want to melee with them; they're just tough. And then I think everyone's in the plaza, so they're just all hanging out here. Here's the militia. As you can tell, not really anything to worry about. This is the tier 1 unit for Dale, and we can get a version of it as well. Now, once we start capturing towers, probably they're going to run over.
Dorwinion steel will be tested as our men fight over the defenses.
Alright, we're going to maybe take some losses here. Nope, we grabbed that. Good. Let's run over here. Okay, and they haven't moved yet. So if we can get over here, this means we're not even going to need... Yeah, we're not going to need to do anything. We can run our cav in. We can run everybody in. Beautiful. Just everyone go ahead and blob in there, and I can put you down. Okay. So I'm not going to go nuts and run these guys everywhere else, because I think we're far enough away from that tower that it's not going to fire back at us. And I'll just leave them up top, because we may need someone to, you know, kind of block if these guys decide to move off the wall. But probably, actually, I could just start picking on the town center, set some troops up in the streets to block them, because they're going to come down, I think. And then just kind of surround them and kill them, and they're going to rout. So when you're doing a you know, a settlement battle, obviously you want to take them out of this plaza, because the plaza is where they're having, you know, infinite morale bonuses. Yeah, there they go. So I'm not going to get to them. That's actually fine. I don't want to really rush it. Got plenty of time, 33 minutes. So they're just not coming over to me. That's great. And we've got enough ranged units that we can kind of pull these guys out. Oh, they're coming, though. That's interesting. That's alright. I actually want that. I want this. Come on. Where are you going? Alright, I would love you to come over to see my Dorwinion watch. Alright, you guys are coming. Let's get all the light cav together. Oh, that's right. I can't group them all because they're mercs and the other guys are not. So, there we go. Now, they do have some ranged in the form of the black spears. So that could be a problem. You know, we're going to take losses for sure in this battle. But this is great. I mean, if I can set up here and pull them over to me before they get, like, close to the plaza, that'll just make it easier. They won't be supported. Kind of slowly moving back. All right, we are. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so they're going in the other direction. Where's my halberdiers now? All right, halberdiers. They're slow, those halberdiers. But we already took out like 3 or 4 of them just by ranged. Okay, then let's get our archers on this side, because it's closer anyway. Alright, I forgot to bring him over. And I guess we don't need the axemen up there either. Alright, come on out. I think what it'll do is, see, actually, the Dale Longbowmen might be the most expendable unit. Because we are in Dale. And so if we, you know, win this battle, we should be able to retrain this unit. All right, come on. Alright, and once again, I'm just failing all over the place to take care of my ranged units. And you guys, for some reason, are not moving. Alright, let's get the Dorwinion men-at-arms in there. Dramatic clap of thunder. Maybe the cav can sneak through there. Okay, this should be fine. They are utterly tired because this unit was the reinforcement, so they've come from, you know, the edge of the map. Alright, yeah, Longwomen, let's bring you over here. But yeah, taking a chief city like this one means that we can retrain mercenaries that are local to the region, and in this case, the local mercenaries are the Dale Longwomen mercenaries. So that means, you know, out of all the units that are fielded here, the only ones we'll be able to retrain for a while are these guys. We need to build up the infrastructure before we can retrain our native stuff, and because this is not our homeland, we may never be able to retrain stuff like Dorwinion Watch or Men-at-Arms. But these guys are tough enough to defeat a tier 1 unit without too much trouble, so not concerned about that. Of course, the bigger problem is going to be the Black Spears and the Hearthmen of Dale. Dragon Slayers I'm not even worried about anymore, seeing how quickly we took them out with a few arrows. So once we get rid of this little annoying blocking unit, we will be able to move in and kind of repeat the process. Okay, there they go. And our archers are going to start just cutting them down. So they're not going to make it back to the center, I don't think. Right. But let's go ahead and go for the shield wall formation. Yeah. Set you up there. Right, there's that captain. Alright, 24 minutes. Still all kinds of time. I'd like to pull the Dragon Slayers next. Because, of course, if we can kill them, then it'll make it that much easier for the other units to rout. But notice how they're not sending out the general. They're being uncharacteristically cautious / intelligent with their units. We haven't taken any more of them out, though. That's interesting. Alright, start to go back. Archers are sometimes slow to obey orders. Oh. Alright, this is okay. They're just coming in, realizing they're surrounded, and then fleeing back, presenting their backs to us. So we're gonna get some nice shots. I don't think they're throwing javelins at all yet. That means they still got them, and they can throw them in melee, which is annoying, but I've got plenty of arrows. And we're even close enough to hit these Dragon Slayers with some of our archers anyway. Alright, this is where you start to feel a little bad for the AI. Alright, and we're actually out of arrows on the Longwomen now. So they will have to be just a melee unit. Alright, this is a little concerning. Alright, here's what I want to do then. Let's everybody stop firing. And let's go here. So the other thing I'm noticing is the difference, assuming that all these guys started shooting at about the same time, which I wasn't checking, but the difference between the Dorwinion bowmen and the Rovanian hunters in terms of number of arrows. Now, these guys, there may have been other issues, right? Like sometimes there is a problem. Okay. Back to the plaza. So it could be that that we just didn't have a clear shot with one of these units. Oh, what a chump I've been had. Alright, I'm embarrassed. I got caught out with my Dorwinion Men-at-Arms. But, you know, it may be the case that Dorwinion bowmen just don't have as many arrows as the other unit, which is yet another reason, kind of, to train more Rovanian hunters. The Dorwinion bowman, you know, you could use as a flanker, theoretically. But, you know, in practice, you don't want to do that too much because they're an expensive unit. And it's, you know, more efficient to kill things from range, right? Alright, so the general's at least gone. And now we're going to be in the kind of uncomfortable position of having to deal with these other units. I think maybe just in the interest of time, I will keep these guys here. Like, it's not the best. We'll put them somewhere like there, and we'll have the archers close enough to fire. Yep. We'll be hitting those Hearthmen, and we also can get the Rovanian, what are these? The Foresters down here. Alright, 66 men. Ugh, 63. Alright, you're done. Let's get you out. I guess the other thing I should have been doing is this, right? Getting these other units around to the flank. The Axemen can go there too, why not? What are we down to? 58? Yeah, just a very good unit, the Hearthmen. Alright, maybe they know that we're trying to outflank them. And maybe some Dorwinion watch over here too. We're not really using them here. Alright, sure. Go ahead. Do your last thing. Okay, so now they're pulling in the black spears. Alright. Oh gosh, look at how annoying. Okay, so we're going to do this. It's going to have to be right at the plaza because we don't have any long-range stuff anymore. And what do we got for time? 9 minutes. I think we're still good. I'm getting a little concerned, though. Alright. Minutes. All right, we got time. I'd like to focus on the Hearthmen with the ranged because I think they're going to be more effective at that. Actually, that's bowman. I don't need you. Right, we're not going to catch him here. Let's get everybody ready, though. Alright, if they would have just stayed out for another second and I'd been quicker, I could have gotten a nice little charge there, maybe. This is a little bit of an unusual battle map in the sense that you have room to kind of, you know, get a few shots off, get a few charges off even. What are we at? 7 minutes. Still okay. Right, we're hitting the Hearthmen. And you're now empty. And you're now empty. Well, so we're going to have to go in. Jeez, I guess we'll take the swordsman in there. Maybe the axemen want to go in too. And I guess the only thing we can do at this point is set up engagements so that the units are tied up, and then we can do the old hammer and anvil. Assuming we can get the anvil in there. Alright, this is actually fine. Alright. The game is shocked that I'm giving attack orders and is glitching out slightly. Alright, yeah, this is, see, leave a unit strung out like an idiot, and sometimes the game will present you with a nice opportunity, I guess. Alright, we'll get these guys out of the way. We are sandwiching those black spears. I'm not too worried about them, but the Hearthmen of Dale are annoying, and I don't know if this charge is going to go off. Let's see. Is it going to be a good charge? Okay, we're lowering lances. So 36, 34. All right, nice. Beautiful. That's as good a charge as you could hope for, really. And we took a few losses, but I'm just going to keep them in there. There's 6 men. We're still charging with our Merc unit. So as long as you still see on the tooltip that it says charging, they're getting that bonus. And like I should probably take out these other light cav. And in fact, the Hearthmen... Oh, the Hearthmen are almost dead. Let's pull these guys out too, because I think we're fine. And what do we got? 4 minutes? Alright, we can do this. Got him surrounded, and that's it. Alright, clear victory. We only lost like 50 or so men. That's much better than I would have thought. So Dale is ours. Oh, that is so good to have out of the way. With that gone, now we're going to have to really get ready, because you can bet the next move is going to be conducting a hasty peace with North Rune so that they can bring their troops back into the west. I don't even know if I want to lay Desolate here. I think I might just occupy. But actually, maybe Expel Populace is the good move. It doesn't take as many men as laying Desolate. It also doesn't give you that much money. But you get to benefit from the population. In other words, I'm sending people to the places where I have governors. And those are both of the places. Rathwin has a governor and Belligand has a governor. So that's like 1,000 men for each. So that's actually, I think, really nice. Let's see what the population looks like now in Rathwin. Yeah, that's 1,000 extra men. So we're up at over 2,000 there. And that's good. I was feeling a little reluctant to train more units out of here because we're getting down around 1,000. And that just, it has me worried. If you start training a lot of, like, you know, the skirmishers, the axemen, the archers, it just takes a lot out of the population. And in a few turns, you can have yourself down to very little. And that hurts the income to an extent. It hurts the income taxes. You can see, okay, this is actually going up because of a building. But we're now at 665. We're going to be at 687. You know, that'll go down as the population decreases. Land tax will not. This is not dependent on population, which is kind of nice. And then trade, I don't think, is dependent on population. But you do want population, right? Up to a point. And here we've got 3,000. So that, again, feels a lot better. I'm going to be doing training out of these places. We're going military with Rathwin, so I don't want to have to avoid training. So what can we do in our newly won province? It's an open policy. Fantastic. We're going to keep that. We're going to keep the herbalist. That's helping population growth, or it will once we've got our own stuff built. What else do we have? Well, they've already got a merchant square for us, which means immediately we can train a scout. This is what we call spies in the mod. And we can train an emissary. I may as well just grab one here. There's probably some unrest from a spy of Dale that's in the province. And I know that we are also next to the elves, and they go nuts with agents. So it's very common to find a homeland of yours is a little more unhappy than it should be. And it's often because there's some elven spy installed there. And it's hard to do anything about that, even with a spy of your own, honestly. But what else we have? We've got the King's Barracks. This is a great building for Dale. It's a tier 4 or tier 5 building. It might be a tier 5. So we're going to get 7,000 Mirian for destroying this. So we're up over 20,000 now. We have to destroy that. It doesn't do anything for us. They've also already got the King's Feasts. We're seeing all these effects, which means that we benefit from it. So that's just awesome. And they've got the Homeland Dominion. Now we will want to destroy this. It says here, if you're not playing as Dale, you should destroy it, right? You don't arguably need it in the sense that you can build things, but these things are not really going to be useful. They're going to cost a ton of money. And so you really want to destroy it. That queues up the ability for us to build the first stage, which is provincial pacification. This is going to help population a little bit. It's going to help law a little bit, so we're going to be making some more money. But most importantly, it sets up the ability to construct our own dominion building so that we can really make the most of this settlement. We also have dwarven crafted walls, so that's nice. We get some little bonuses here. And I don't think there's anything else unusual. We've got the Great Dwarf Road, actually. So this goes through, all the way from the High Pass, I guess, the eastern side of the High Pass, all the way through the Misty Mountains, opposite Rivendell, and then goes through, down through the Anduin, through the Great Forest, and over here. So we're benefiting essentially from this road in terms of trade, or we will. We've already got tillage. We can upgrade that, I believe, and this is already a chief province. So in other words, we're kind of at the max in terms of building. Now we will need to build up our own, like all of these grayed out things, like the military, the farms we can improve on. We can get merchants up one higher tier, which we will want to do at some point. We'll have to build our own industry things, and and if we want to go for assassins or rogues, as we call them in the mod, we'll have to go down here. But really, it's the military things that we'll want to take a look at, because we get some different options up here than we do in our homeland. So at the first level, it's going to be a levy unit. You can ignore this. When we actually be able to build it, it'll show the unit card as normal. But this is the Barding Militia Levies. This is the unit that we were just fighting against, essentially. It's tier 1. Barding Watch Levies have swords. Again, it's going to show as white there. Just a little graphical thing, can't do anything about it. And then we get our native recruitment at tier 2, just the spearmen and foresters that you're familiar with. And then tier 3, we get axemen, hunters, and scouts, so we can get our cav and archers out of here. And at tier 4, we do get some good stuff. We get our Dorwinion watch and our Dorwinion bowmen, so that's very important. We're never going to be able to get the men-at-arms, but we are going to get retainer longwomen. Unfortunately, we're not going to see the unit here, but we will once we can actually, build stuff in Dale. So the retainer longbowmen are a long-range unit. It is 60 men. It is they will have more or higher stats than are shown here, but compared to, for example, the Dorwinion bowmen with fewer men, these guys have 175 yards. The Dorwinion bowmen get 155, so that is a significant increase from both of our own ranged units. So Dale is great to get, and then we're going to want to get Esgaroth also very, very quickly. Now, what else can we do around here? Well, we may want to send the emissary back to scout, because we don't have any other means to do that. Okay, here's an army. So they're going to be moving towards us. Let's see. Again, what is that? It's just low tier stuff. What else we got? We got Yodor over here. And we've got that. Okay, so they could be arguably putting us under siege next turn. And the annoying thing is that they would be standing right here when they did it. So I think what I may want to do is get over here with my army, maybe even the full army, and get a watchtower so I can see who's coming, and then I'll know when it's safe to go for Esgaroth. Now, we also have to remember that there is another city of Dale to our west, 2 of them, in fact. There's one right up here in the North Eaves, and this is it's a very low population, low settlement, not a lot of infrastructure, so I'm not too worried about it. But over here they've got more. Framsburg has a lot more military buildings, and they can probably train a lot of troops out of there, maybe even Black Spears. So we will have to be careful, but I don't want to have us under siege here and then have to sally out on a bridge battle. So let's see, who would be a good governor of Dale? I think you. So I'm going to leave him in because we don't want this place to get bribed. But I will take the king. The city of Dale is currently, let's see, the king of Dorwinion, yes. Okay. Even though he's not a good commander, we're going to take him. Actually, can I retrain anything? No. Okay, actually, I think we've got all the longbowmen we need. This is a full unit still. So let's take everybody but you and maybe the axemen. I think that should be good. Low taxes. We're at 70, so there shouldn't be any unrest. Feels a little risky, but let's head down the road. Yeah, there's the army. They're not going to stand and fight there. I will put a watchtower here. Maybe this is bad placement for a watchtower in the sense that it looks like it's right next to a road. And so that tends to attract brigands and things. But this is, I think, great in what it does show me, that, you know, we can already see just about down to the river. And we can see Burn from our watchtower here. So that's actually nice. Okay, let's move everybody back towards the city. I don't want to take out this army right now in the forest. I'll wait until there's like a likelier field of battle. But, you know, the thing I'm seeing is that I don't think Dale has a lot of armies. Right? They've got this, which does have some black spears, but also some low-tier stuff. Okay, here we go. We've got a half stack here, but it's so low tier. I think that they used up their best units fighting North Rune. So you know, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Let's see, we've got 4 archers here. I think we need some more stuff, like just basic stuff. So let's go for a spearman unit here. Let's see what we have now. Now we've got a nice half stack, so if one of these half stacks come down, I'm feeling a bit better about it. 2 archers, 2 axes, 2 cav. I guess we could go with another spear. And we're making 4,000, it says. We've got some plunder from taking Dale, so maybe we can invest some of that in Belligant. And, you know, I'm not really sure. Wine is usually a good choice, though. Let's see, 3,100, so that gives us 200. And there is going to be some upkeep, but it's very minor. So this is a fantastic trade building. Sometimes these industry buildings can be a little questionable in terms of their value because they don't appear to pay out very well, at least initially. All right, there's a Dale spy. Okay, that could be bad. Bjornings, what are you doing? All right, they want trade. Yes, we do border them now. So let's actually... Oh, actually... Do we border them? We kind of do. Let's see if they'll pay for it, though. So if you border them, if you can actually trade, a lot of times they'll pay for trade. So make a single payment. 1,000. Will you give me money? They'll give 120. Okay, so you know what? Let's just get a little more than that, and then I'll be happy. 500. We're allies. I don't want to, you know, antagonize them. So great. We're trading, and we'll be trading. Yeah, okay, so Dale does reach down to actually trade with this settlement here, which I forgot about. And that is a bit of a concern because we are now bordering the Bjornings. So that means theoretically they could come up from their settlement and raid across the Kelduin and attack us. Okay, so money is a little bit tight still, which is expected. We've invested kind of a lot in units, and we've only taken Dale, and that's, you know, not doing any trade. Well, actually, it is. Let's check out our trade income. 312. That's respectable, you know, for being surrounded by enemies as it is. But the public order here is very bad. 50%. Unrest is now 80%. So I'm thinking that Dale's spy is still inside the settlement. My spy only has 1 subterfuge. We leave a spy in your town or in any town, and they're going to get a network established trait, which is going to give them 1 or 2 more points in subterfuge. So that's nice. It looks like, yeah, they're not moving up towards me here, so maybe I can move a bunch or some of these troops back and go for Esgaroth. Let's go right next to Dale. See, I probably don't need the cav quite so much.
Yes, Captain. Sir. Splitting the troops.
Actually, it's not going to be enough to bring us up from, you know, 50%, but that actually gave us 10. So maybe another unit. You know, the obvious choice would be something like Ravanian Hunters because they're relatively cheap.
Yes,
Let's go with the Foresters.
leaving the army.
All right, that's fine. And I just want to quickly get Esgaroth,
Prepare for battle. Besieging settlements, sir.
and that'll be the plan for the next episode. So he's not the governor yet. Let's see, he is competent, and so I'm happy to leave him in the town and take up the rule there. He is intelligent. He's already dutiful, which is fantastic. He's already getting bonuses to trade and things. If we want that to go up even higher, we can check the local governance, and that's going to, we want to put that on growth and uncheck those things so we can still dictate buildings and training policies and such. But what this is going to do is make him happier. It's going to affect that opinion of liege trait. So I think that's where we're going to leave it for the end of this episode. We've got Esgaroth under siege. We've got these settlements building. Maybe we should have them training, though, because even though the income is kind of low, we're going to conquer another settlement. It's going to get better. So let's go... I think I want to lean a little bit more on ranged here, so we'll go for you. And let's go for you as well. And I'm hoping that... Okay, yes, it looks like they've gathered their troops together. So they're moving back, hopefully towards Dale. And then that'll leave them kind of undefended. So I can go up here and grab Burn, potentially. And then leave the fort. Like, I'm just going to leave the fort. We're going to grab Burn. We're going to grab Yodor after we grab Yodor. That's the plan at any rate. Let's end the year, though, because I'm curious about what they're going to do. Are they going to attack me at Esgaroth? Are they going to attack my settlements? No? I think we attack Dale at just the right moment. Alright, provincial pacification is done, and we got, alright, coming of age. In Beligant, competent governor, competent commander. That is wonderful news. So we've got an extra governor or general around here. And yeah, that actually is awesome because I may want to take him out and put him in charge of this. You know, the campaign up here. All right, now that we've got our, you know, whatever it was there, the... What is it? The Lord's Feasts. We get the experience bonus from that, so we can retrain all those guys. That is going to, you know, take all of our profits, but that's all right. We're going to spend it now so we can have quality. Here we are at the King's Feasts. That is the max. And let's go with another unit. Let's go with a Scouts unit. And here... Yeah, let's go with another Scout. And then between, you know, between these two stacks, I want to get an army together that can move up in here and start causing trouble. But the other thing I think that we want to do, let's check out the unrest. All right, 60, 65. It might be that the spy is now gone. I'm going to queue up another spy. And I'm actually thinking about taking this guy out.
Yes, master.
Because if we're going to be campaigning in this area, I want to have a better understanding of what's really here. And it looks very, very doable. So this is the new ruler. Hold up in Yodor with only 3 units. And Burn, the second city of the Kingdom of Dale, is, you know, that's where they seem to be gathering their forces. Let's move back over into North Rune. They stalled out. I think that North Rune will be able to deal with this. At some point, but we, more to the point, are going to be able to deal with that. So let's begin this. I don't want to forget this between now and the next episode. Let's just set up who we're going to take. I think I want to take both of the skirmishers. I want to take 2 archers and both of the cav. How does that look? Okay, I think that's fine. And you're going to be my guy. So you're coming over here. We're going to move up. We're going to have a couple of Dorwinion watch units with us. And then the only thing is, you know, we want to be wary of Rovanion. I don't think they're at war with anybody yet. And so, you know, they're at war with rebels. They may still be conquering somewhere in the west. Yeah, they don't have the East Bite yet. I guess that's good news. Dunabar has taken the Brownlands, so that means we may be seeing them move up into this territory. Or maybe Rovanion will go to war with them. But, you know, that is a concern. And now we also, I'm noticing, we have a neighbor in the east. So this is why it's good to get eyes on a settlement, because even though the settlement itself under fog of war is going to show what it was like when you saw it first. Like here it's showing is still a rebel province. I can right click on the ground outside the settlement and I can know that this is now held by Rune, the Easterlings. So we don't want to let up on training, and we want to be very, very careful about that border, because now we share a border with Rune. They are our ally ostensibly, but that is something to watch for. On the comments of the first video, I had a recommendation about going Viking, which is great advice. This is very effective most of the time. Just sort of smash and grab kind of play style, where you get a good army together and just go through and wreck settlements, and you just destroy the buildings and require the enemy to rebuild all of that stuff. It sets them back and makes you some money, and that can work. You can see the difficulty with that right now is deciding when to start it, because I am committed to the West. I want to capture this area, really all of this area, as fast as I can before I find myself having to deal with enemies. But once we go to war with Rune, which I'm guessing, maybe the next episode or two, then we do want to take very seriously that idea of getting a ship or two, and then getting a small elite army, getting some spies out over here to see what looks like a nice target, and then just sending them across the Sea of Rune to, in our longboats to burn and pillage. Because if we've got an enemy in Rune, we need to set them back. But that'll have to wait for the future. Thanks for joining me in this episode, and I hope you will stick around for the next one. Take care until then.